During the last 40 years, I've been traveling around the world, reporting on the customs and traditions that give meaning to our lives. During those years, I discovered that the ones that were most valuable to me were the ones that gave me a sense of inner peace and self-knowledge. A couple of years ago, I told a friend of mine that I was interested in taking a break from traveling around the outside world and wanted to make a trip to the inside to find out more about my own feelings and how they might relate to the universal themes of life. He suggested that I take a look at the teachings of a man named Prem Rawat. Prem, who is also known as Maraji, is originally from India and has been speaking to people around the world for about 30 years. He talks about the possibility of knowing contentment in our lifetime. He points out that the forces of modern society may stimulate our desires and drive us outward in a search for happiness, but lasting happiness can only be found within you. Like most people, I am interested in inner peace and self-knowledge. But as a journalist, I am particularly skeptical of anybody who tries to show me how to find it. In spite of that cynicism, I attended 2 lectures by Prem, and I found his message to be timely and quite significant and quite entertaining. And most surprisingly, some of the things he said actually helped me solve some problems that I was having with my family. I want to point out that I am not a student of Prem Rawat. I am a journalist interested in his story and his message. And he's very open about that. He says that the things that he teaches are significant to some people, but not to others.
This is a reality. This is a possibility. It is simple, it is beautiful, it is profound. And my words don't mean anything till you have felt it yourself.
My conversations with Prem were taped over the course of several months in Malibu, California. We talked about his life, my life, what is going on in the world today, what makes people happy, what makes us sad, and how one can choose to live. When people come to hear you speak, what do they expect?
I don't really know what they expect. I guess some people come and it's like, enlighten me away. I can't do that. What I expect to do is to come and speak from my heart. That's all I expect of myself. To be real, to be genuine.
Is there a central message or a series of messages that you tend to give during each of these?
My central message is, you are alive. Congratulations, you are alive. Now let's begin with that. We don't have to create a curriculum. That's not necessary. Let's just begin with, congratulations, you are alive. What more needs to be said? Do you know what that means?
Probably not. What does it mean?
I'm very fortunate to be alive. Where's my gratitude that I exist? I'm unique. Do I really see myself as this unique being, this new unique individual? Or am I so busy trying to be like everyone else?
What else do you teach?
What else is there? Is there more?
This is a short but intense discussion.
It should be. That start of accepting this moment, this life, that's the doorway to everything. Everything.
Why do you think we don't do that?
It's a lot easier to sit there and wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. Want to know the future? Wait. It'll come to you. It's headed your way. Have patience. We don't have patience. We want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is never going to come. Because every time tomorrow starts to come, it becomes today. Today, we're not interested in. Because today is dedicated to tomorrow.
Pay attention to today is what you're saying to me now.
Even more than that. Because today comes in this moment called now. Pay attention to this moment called now, and you will understand what you are all about. You look at a river. And yet if you were to journey up that river and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, you'll get to a point where you will see not a river, but a drop. Very gently, very slowly, filtering through all the soil, all the rock, or melting of a snow, coming to a pinnacle, waiting till it builds, and then dropping. Drop, drop, and drop. Never any faster, never any slower. Drop. And all those drops come together and form this mighty, mighty river. Looking at the river, you can't imagine its gentleness of a drop, just like the gentleness of the moment called now. That's your drop. That's how this life begins. That's how this dance begins. Mighty power in this world, and a humble drop called now.
How do you begin to learn about yourself?
You know, all our lives we try to reason, logic. So many people are living in that reason. So many people are completely indulging themselves every day. Well, now I have done this, so I must be okay. Now I can do this, so I must be okay. But you know, there's something more than reason, and that is feeling. Feeling is far, far more important than reason. Let me give you an analogy. The other day I was watching this cook show on TV, and he's telling us, you know, here's the salt, here's the cream, here's the mushrooms. And I can sit there and I'm mentally taking notes, right? Then all of a sudden, he does something. He takes his finger, dips it in the sauce, and tastes it. And I'm sitting there going, huh? What does it taste like? Because you just put this thing together. And it's incredible. I can see that. I can reason that much. But what does it really taste like? I don't know that. So if, in a way, we start to look at the reason in the same fashion, that we reason so many things, but what is it really like? What is it really like to experience? What is it really like to feel that? There is all my logic, and then there is a feeling. And when I start to acknowledge in my life this one valuable tool that I have been given, which is I can feel. I don't have to reason everything. I can feel too. Then you start to enter in the realm of self-knowledge. Because that's what self-knowledge is going to be. It's going to be a feeling. Peace is a feeling. Happiness is a feeling.
Do you think our world has gotten so noisy that we can't hear what's inside?
I think it's always been noisy. But now we're letting that noise come in. And we are listening to it. And not only listening to it, but we're sometimes passionate about it. And it's like, oh yeah, I just love the sound of the freeway running by my window. You know, God forbid something happens and all the traffic stops and it's just dead quiet. And that sometimes to people is very scary. I look at a child. There is something that that child is getting, feeling. That is incredible. And I can only relate to it because I have felt that when I was young myself. It's like, it's fun.
Do you think that when we're young, we are in better touch with ourselves?
Things aren't that complicated. Things are a little simpler. The volume hasn't been turned up on all the noise outside. It's a little easier to go with the flow, so to say to oneself, I like this. I want to feel this. I want to enjoy this. And that feeling and that enjoyment is enough. The world can wait.
I feel it's very easy for people to get lost in the noise of the world, just the way you were describing it. How do you find your way back?
Stop reasoning. Start feeling. It's not like disasters and the noise doesn't once in a while get turned up, even for that child. But they have a way of feeling. This feels good right now. I'll go with this. This is good enough. This is right.
Boy, I've said that to my children so many times when they were trying to pick a school to go to or get into university. I said, well, I don't know that we can reason through this. What feels good to you? That's going to be your best sign. Interesting.
Certain things definitely need explanation, and certain things don't. Science can never explain to you why a sunrise looks so beautiful. There's no scientific explanation. The fact that you have a lot of hydrogen out there, the fact that you have the Earth's reflection makes all the colors and all that, yes. But why does it look beautiful?
Why? Now that you've raised that issue, I've seen hundreds of sunsets. I've enjoyed them. I've never understood why will I walk to the end of a pier to see a sunset? Why do I do that?
Because the beauty is within you, calling out to you to appreciate, to enjoy what is enjoyable. It's a gift to appreciate, to be able to enjoy, that one thing that you are alive. That what the heart yearns for. That is what I am all about. What you are all about.
It seems that there's so little in the world that reminds us to do that. Pick up the newspaper. Issues like this are never discussed. They seem to push you away from yourself. Yeah?
Because reasoning comes into it. I'm going to think logically out of this. Well, I'm not putting down logic. We all need that. But then you have to know where you get off. It's like going to your friend's house for dinner. You're not going to take the car to the dining room. The car is going to go maybe to the driveway, to the front porch. It's going to stop, and you're going to get out and go in the house. We got to know the difference. How far is reasoning going to take me? And where I need to begin to feel.
Is there any way I can tell when my feelings are accurate as opposed to false?
You will know if you know how to trust in yourself. If you're going to sit there and get caught between reasoning and feeling, there you are touching this object that maybe what's written on this object is caution, red hot, do not touch. You bring your hand closer and closer and you feel no heat and you're going, but it says do not touch. There's something wrong here. It's saying it's hot and I know it's not. What do I believe? Well, I know it is not hot because I have felt it.
It's interesting. That's almost an innate response that you're talking about of I want the experience and the feeling over the reasoning. I've told you not to touch the plate, it's hot. I've got to find out for myself.
Exactly. Don't you know what's important? Can't you feel what's important? Can't you feel your life? Why does somebody have to come along and drag a little label and say, ta-da, and you can look at it and go, oh yeah, this is very important because it says so.
How do we get into that mess? I mean, what you're describing is absolutely accurate. We look outside for all of our confirmations.
We become so comparative, It's like, let me compare my success, your success, Where do I stand in relationship to you? All of a sudden, it becomes like a big chess game where you're looking at it and you're going, what is the relationship of the knight to the pawn, to the bishop, to the queen, to the castle? And you're looking at all these. What is threatened? What is not threatened? Life is not a chess game. Life is this beautiful drum of breath that is beating. Life is a flower that needs to be admired. Life is this beautiful fresh water welling from this spring that needs to be drunk and the thirst quenched. Life is offering not a challenge, but a joy.
What are some of the thirsts that we have? You use that metaphor in a very nice way.
Thirst to be content. Thirst to be fulfilled. A thirst in itself just wants to be quenched. Enjoy the thirst. You see, we live in a world where it is, oh, you got a little pain in your finger? Let's fix it. Are you thirsty? No worries. Let's go get the water. But here, to discover, my goodness, I am thirsty. Because for so long, I didn't think I was thirsty. For so long, I just went around saying, I'm me. I've got this. I've got that. I've accomplished this. I don't get thirsty. And then to feel the thirst and be fascinated by it. Because what kind of salt did you eat to create that thirst? Then to turn within and drink from the fresh spring that wells from within and quench the thirst. Not just a little thirst, but quench the thirst like it has never been quenched before.
There's an outside world, and you and I are travelers in it. But there's an inside world that you know much better than I do.
For so many people, a home is a building, 4 walls, roof, and all of that. But there is another home. That is the true home. Where you exist to enjoy, where you exist to rest. To rest. Rest from all the crazy noise, rest from all the crazy things that happen during a span of a day. To come home and to rest. Here, sleep means something else. Sleep doesn't mean to close the eyes, but to open the eyes to the inner world. To throw open that back door and walk into this garden. A garden that is so meticulous, a garden that is so perfect, where every leaf dances in a cool breeze. One thing about the inner world, one thing about the inner journey that is incredibly fascinating is it's never the same. Never, ever the same.
Why is that?
This landscape inside is infinite, And a little bit of a turn and you see something else, completely different. The word boring does not apply to the world within. Never is it boring.
I have seen people in other places searching for a kind of self-knowledge or a knowledge different from the immediate environment. And I thought, wow, what an interesting reality. That there are people searching for better ways to live and teaching them. That's the way I see you, as teaching a better way to live.
What I want to teach is not a bunch of ideas and not a bunch of concepts. I want to teach you to discover what you already have. It's a very different kind of teaching.
But you're teaching me. That's what I feel.
Or how about holding up a mirror? My job is to make sure the mirror is nice and clean. Nice and clean. And I hold the mirror up. And then I get to watch you smile. And you see in the mirror. Because you're always pleasantly surprised.
What you say about mirrors is now echoing in terms of my relationship with my children. They'd ask me questions, and then I'd let them talk.
People look at me and it's like, I didn't ask you to hold the mirror. I asked you a question. Why are you holding the mirror? And I'm saying, yeah, but keep looking. And you will learn to look within you. And when you do, you will find the answers. And I sit there and I clean the mirror and clean the mirror and clean the mirror and clean the mirror. Look. I don't want to look. I haven't got the time to look. I'm too busy. This is not what I want right now in my life. Well, what do you want in your life? Did you look at the mirror again? No, I can't. I'm too busy. There's other things going on. This is interesting, but someday. Today's your day. Every day is your day, not someday. Every day is your day. That's the way it is.
When you speak about peace, what do you mean?
Peace, not the kind of peace that is tied to something, but a peace that is inherent in every human being. Every human being. And we're talking everyone. Peace that is there when we are asleep, peace that is there when we are awake, a peace that is there when we are in the middle of the greatest turmoil. Not a result of something, not a consequence of something. Just because you turned off your stereo and you closed your windows and you turned off the air conditioning, now it's quiet and peaceful. No, no, no. A peace that's always there. Even when that air conditioning was running, even when there is a war on the outside, something quiet and beautiful on the inside.
How do you explain to people what that feeling is like?
You have to feel it. And once you feel it, then you will have the common reference necessary. Peace within yourself. To be in that harmony, not the harmony outside. That's impossible because so much is changing. But inside, you are very, very still. It's like a huge wheel, and the outermost part of that wheel is turning the fastest. And as you go in, slows down, slows down, slows down, slows down, till the very center is barely moving.
What a wonderful image. The outside of the wheel spinning around like mad, and the center quiet and still.
Exactly.
Well, there's a trip to look forward to.
One of the most fundamental things is, do I or do I not understand that within me there is something waiting to be discovered? There is more to me than I realize. There is more to you than you ever thought of. That within me, there is a treasure worth more than all the money in this world. That there is a most beautiful scene, more beautiful than anything I can imagine. And if I can accept that, then I am on my way to understanding what that peace is.
I wonder, if I get to the center of the wheel, how do I deal with the people around me? What's going to happen to friends, acquaintances, business associates who aren't at the center of the wheel? Am I still going to have a life?
You will have just one difference. Only one. And that difference is you will be at the center of the wheel. You are life peaceful. You have found your treasure. When you become rich, you become rich. When you quench your thirst, you no longer need that water. So much fear comes in. What will happen if I get inner peace? Well, will I become a vegetable? This is what a lot of people think. Oh, I'll have to wear, clothes like a monk. Oh, I'll have to live on a mountain, and I won't be able to see my child, and I won't be able to do this, No. You see, it's like being in a very dark place. And it's really dark. And you're wondering, gee, I wish I had a flashlight. And then you remember, well, you know what? I thought I had a flashlight. I wonder where I put it. And it's in your pocket. And it's already on.
What about outer peace?
Outside peace is relative. Inside peace is always there. Always. Even when that hurricane is coming, that peace is there.
So the real answer to the craziness on the front page of the newspaper is enough people with inner peace.
Look within. Look within. Find it. Feel it. Enjoy it. Live it. Like it. Love it.
So what did I take away from these interviews? The first point was that each person is unique, and we should try to appreciate our uniqueness and not spend our lives trying to be like anyone else. That logic is important, but so is what we feel. Too often we try to reason our way through life when we might be better off responding to our feelings. Inner peace and happiness are feelings. And perhaps most important for me, the answer to almost all of our questions are inside us. Pay attention to what you feel. There's an old saying, we enter the world empty-handed, and that's the way we leave it. But Prem has a slightly different take on that. He says we may enter the world empty-handed, but we have the opportunity to leave it with a sense of self-knowledge and inner peace. So it looks like my journey might just be beginning. I certainly hope so. Thanks for watching.